Hello, I'm Jan-Mark Valhue from Claire Invest. I'm the founder and chief investment officer. Today I would like to take you into the world of cryptocurrencies and more specifically into the Bitcoin. Most of you may know over the last couple of weeks, some ETFs, exchange-traded funds, have been approved by the SEC in the US. And now we can have a vehicle that is based on Bitcoin and that is readily available to all investors. What the Bitcoin has done prior to the launch of all those ETFs is that there was a lot of hype, a lot of speculation, so the prices moved higher. We reached a level of about 50,000 and we started off around 26,000. That was a little bit of the end of the year, the expectation of the launch of the ETF, the widening of the information across the world, that now people would be able to trade ETF, not just on decentralized exchange, but also on ETF. And so you could have it on your bank account along other stocks and other positions. As it always happens or often happens, there was a sell the news event. All the hype kind of disappeared as pretty much near the day of the ETF launch, and we've been correcting ever since to the extent of over 20%. It's not specific to Bitcoin, it's pretty much on all the different currencies. We can see that also on Ethereum. We saw it on Avalanche. So it's specific to the market, but I think it's more of a sell the news event. The hype is there. You have several factors that could have also pushed the Bitcoin lower. Was the fact that there was at the same time, coinciding with the ETF launch, FTX bankruptcy was taking place, and the judge or the appointees of the bankruptcy decided to use that moment to unload a lot of the position to recover some of the money for the investors. So that pushed the actual unit trust, Grayscale, which was prior to the ETF, one of the few vehicles for Bitcoin. It pushed lower the prices, and so we ended up with roughly about 20% downdraft. Now, things that are supporting over the next 6 months, that could be supporting Bitcoin over the next 6 months, is that we have pretty soon, in 80 days roughly, the halving, where the miners will take more energy to mine the same amount of Bitcoin. It's a process that's been going on ever since the creation of Bitcoin, and usually the market is down prior to the halving and then rallies thereafter. It's a bit the same mechanics than the ETF, but this one is more of a buy the news event. You also have, of course, one of the main factors is that now that Bitcoin will be readily available on Bitcoin. So let's say the average investor will be able to trade and buy the Bitcoin exposure much more easily than before. And that's supposed to bring some trading, some more information to the Bitcoin trading. One point I would point out is that, the baseline for Bitcoin was to be decentralized and to fight off the devaluation of different monies. So it's a bit, let's say, funny that the fact that the ETF creation will actually centralize the Bitcoin and will bring it into a bank account. So the premise of Bitcoin was to avoid banks and avoid the financial system. So if everything collapsed, you would have your self-custody key and you will have your Bitcoin anywhere in the world. But now if you buy an ETF, of course, then you become trapped in a bank if it ever happens, and it just becomes another asset. So I think that part of it is not, it goes against the principle of the creation of Bitcoin. Everybody needs to make a choice, but I think that will bring down probably a little bit the volatility, but it will also bring the correlation with other assets, that it be stocks, bonds, or currency, because it will be tracking other currencies, other assets around the world. And as you know, when there are times of big corrections, or like we had in 2020 or 2008, usually all the assets correlate in periods of very stressful times. As far as to finish off, the technical picture looks like we could go down to the first support since we broke 42,000 support. Now we could be going to the 3,600 support, which is fairly important. And then if we do break that level, we can go all the way down to 30,000. So that's technical picture at this time. Keep in mind that we've had a sort of a bubble phase in Bitcoins in 2021 with 2 double tops. And so we're in the phase of trying to find the footing. It could be volatile for some time to come. That will be all for today, and happy trading.